Hey guys, welcome to my tutorial. My name is Hippie Buddha, and for more information, you can follow my Instagram in the description below. Today's focus is going to be separated dreadlocks, so you can learn how to do afros and locks through this process. I will now demonstrate it for you. This customer has thin hair, so since the thickness of strands cannot be held boldly, I took sections in the size of 2 cm and 2.5 cm in width and length. Because the customer's hair isn't as thick, you should always take this into consideration, and means that the treatment should be performed according to all hair conditions, such as length of the client's hair, quantity of hair, and hairline. Buddha Black, which is my product I made, makes the scalp less prone to trouble, even if it is in contact with the scalp for a long time. I will explain the basic entire process based on the case of using Buddha Black. When using Buddha Black, apply sheet 1 from just before the scalp to the end of the hair. Brush thoroughly with the comb and apply. If you use the general pump product, the overall procedure should be 5 to 6 times faster than the current work process. Apply with a gap of at least 1 cm so that it does not touch the scalp. The order of winding should be from right to left and from bottom to top, because tight curls are important for afro pumps. It's good to keep applying sheet 1 in the middle of the procedure to keep the pump active. If you are unfamiliar with doing an afro pump, be sure to reapply it in the middle of the procedure for better results. First, carefully use the steel gauge and divide the sections to be wound. Roll the divided section clockwise to the tip of the hair. Then, wrap the pump paper well so that the ends of the hair do not protrude. Roll again with pump paper. As a tip, to minimize the time, it is good to do the rolling that will be unwound later by sliding the rolled hair with your fingertips, grouping the hair together while winding. Then, wind the steel gauge about 4 to 5 cm from the ends of the pump paper. Tighten it tightly so that there is no gap when winding. After winding to the end of the scalp, fold both ends of the steel gauge. If rolling is not enough, you have to spin the steel rods around the hair. Now, it's time to wind up all the sections and heat them up. There are two heat treatment methods. When using a hair heating machine, it should be about 55 degrees Celsius for 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the hair quality. But in the case of this customer, I put it to 35 minutes. If you don't have a hair heating machine, dry it evenly with a hair dryer on hot for about 30 minutes. There are several other methods, but I will tell you about them later. The process of neutralization after heat treatment is very easy. A bubblegum machine is used in the video when neutralizing, but it is not essential. It doesn't really matter how C2 is applied. You can use the neutralizer straight out of bottle. However, you have to do it meticulously without missing any parts. So, you only need to apply it twice, once every 5 minutes. When releasing, it will be more convenient to do it in the reverse order of winding. First, hold the scalp side so that it does not move. Open the steel rods on the scalp side first, and then open the hair at the ends. Grab the pump paper and unwind by reverse winding. And then remove the steel rods and pump paper after unwinding. Now that you've released all the sections, it's time to wash the customer's hair. It doesn't matter if you rinse their hair only with water, although this is the best way. If you are considered about any residue, we recommend rinsing with a mildly acidic shampoo below pH level 5. If you want to wash their hair, you should mainly scrub on the scalp side with your fingertips to keep the curls firm, then squeeze off the water gently. Cover with a towel to remove moisture, only enough to prevent water droplets from falling. So far, the Afro pump process has been completed because customers like the Afro pump produced this way so much. Most of our customers enjoy Afro pump for a week or two and then do dreadlocks after that. Now, it's time for separated dreadlocks. Comb hair while it is still moisturized with a comb. I like to hold the tip of hair closest to scalp so that it does not irritate the scalp. Comb hair regardless of the section, but it is important to comb the entire hair thoroughly so that there are no loose parts. This section of dreadlocks is not divided into rectangle boxes, but freeform. The reason is to style it to feel more close to freeform dreadlocks that look more natural. It is not recommended to divide the section in freeform unless you have a lot of experience with this procedure, because if you have locks in this part, you should be able to imagine what the overall design will look like. This customer has very thin hair, so I started making dreadlock strands about 5 cm from the scalp. This is because Fushi type curls cover the scalp and make the hair look thicker. First, I will explain the lock that come out in one strand. Do not pull the crochet too hard when locating the side closer to the scalp, because the crochet can pull the customer's hair out. When using a crochet, you want to use it making a cross shape starting horizontally, then vertically. Place the messy, protruding fine hair between your index finger and thumb and insert it into the strand as if you were sweeping it with a crochet needle. If you take the ends of the strands while using crochet, you can make round-shaped locks by pulling the hair apart. Following the steps above, you should be able to create the locks. To explain the separated strand locks process, Like in the beginning, I made the strands in the same way, but divided them into two strands at the point where you want to split and proceed in the same way. They can give a more natural feeling if the divided strands have different thickness or length.
Didn't know what to say, I was taking the train one way. Never thought I'd see you again. Never thought I'd see you again. Coming up short, I didn't have a choice but to let it go. You never let me explain myself. Explain myself. Now I'm leaving behind all the things I had in my mind. I'm changing my ways, I'm floating away. I wish that I knew what to say now. You're getting too close, too close. Well, I know we are about to crash, but don't you worry, cause we still got a chance. Baby, don't lose your faith. Don't lose your faith. And everything that I said, spinning round in my head, spinning round in my head, spinning round in my head. Now I'm leaving behind all the things I had in my mind. I'm changing my ways, I'm floating away. Oh, you're gonna do what you say now. You're getting too close. I need you now, and I don't care how. Can't you see my love? I need you now. Promise I will make it right. I'm still waiting. I need you now. I don't care how. Can't you see my love? I need you now.
I emphasize once again, if you consistently practice using the crochet in a cross type, you will be able to make a dreadlock that is natural, comfortable, and can maintain original design for a long time. I hope you guys will be able to do this too. Then, in the next video, I will show you a new and cool hairstyle.